Today I'm ranking every ab exercise you could possibly do. Literally all of them. Will you agree with my rankings? Obviously not, but I don't care. I do not care. 1 second. Just look at me and then look at yourself. Try to tell me I'm wrong. There are 77 exercises on this list, and could I have missed a couple? Maybe, but this is basically every single one you'll see at the gym. Now you might be wondering, why should you listen to me? Alright, so I got the full tier list here, and S is for the best, and F is if I ever see you doing them, I will punch you myself. I'm ranking these based on how they feel, how effective they are, a little personal bias, and how embarrassing they are to do in public. And we've got a lot to get through, so let's get started. Cable crunch. I see a lot of people doing this at the gym, and honestly for good reason. It hits your abs well, not so much the lower ones, but you definitely feel it. The only problem is that most people actually yank the rope with their arms instead of crunching, but overall it's a nice, solid B tier. The frog crunch. Now, I've never seen anybody do this except myself, but you'd be surprised on how much you feel it in your abs. In my opinion, it's just a better version of the regular crunch. Maybe even one of the best crunch exercises. And as long as you do it where nobody can see you, you're fine. And plus, it has one of the best names, so we're putting this one in A. Tabletop crunch. This one is alright. You know, you're not doing anything wrong, but you're not doing anything special either. It's pretty much a regular crunch with your legs up in the air. So we're gonna put it in C. Machine crunch. I'm putting this one in D. The main problem is that you use your arms and legs way more than you should, and it takes all the focus off the abs. It's supposed to be an ab machine, but most of the time it feels like a full body workout, so it's not even worth it. So it goes in D. Dead bug. Guys, where do I even start? First of all, it feels super awkward to do, you barely feel it in your abs, and you look like an absolute dumbass when you're doing it. It checks off all the boxes of a shitty workout. This is an exercise you would see like a cross-country runner doing before practice. So this gets a nice, easy F. Decline twisting sit-up. Simply adding a twist to most exercises make it so much better, especially for this one. Sit-ups by themselves are but when you add a twist and a decline, it becomes way better, so this deserves an A. Toe touch crunch. This one's kind of annoying. It takes so much effort and you're already out of breath before you're even done doing the workout. But I'll give it some credit. You're reaching across your body, which kind of feels like a twist, which is a plus. But still, it's not great, but it's also not horrible, so I'm just gonna put it in C. Dumbbell side bends. Alright, this one actually surprised me. Before doing this, it was actually my first time doing this one, but I actually was super surprised because I actually felt it a lot. It doesn't require too much effort, it's very effective for your obliques and feels solid, but there are better oblique exercises, so I'm gonna put it in B. Bird dog. Alright, I don't know whose idea was it to start mixing animals with the gym. Hear me out, I love animals, probably a little more than I should have. But the two together, it's not good at all. It's like the same thing as having chicken and waffles together. They just don't go. First dead bug, now bird dog, with frog crunch being an exception. This gets an F, get the shit out of here. Hanging leg raises. This exercise is so good for your lower abs, and it's pretty normal to see at the gym. There's literally nothing wrong with this. The only thing is that you have to do it a few times to really know how to focus on your abs so you're not using your hip flexors. But if you get past that, it's an easy S. Basic crunch. We've already talked about some other crunches, and this one is as basic as it gets, and it's honestly pretty solid, pretty average for its variations, so I'm gonna put it in B. Reverse crunch. Now this is the best crunch variation. It's very easy to do, you'll feel it if you go until failure, and it's a lower ab exercise. And by the way, if it's a lower ab exercise, it's most likely gonna rank higher on this list. It's better than the frog crunch, but not quite S tier because there's a lot of good ones coming, so I'm just gonna put it at the top of A. Crunch with twist. Now most crunch exercises that have a twist are better than their normal variation, but this one isn't. But when you're crunching and twisting, it feels a little awkward and you're just way off better doing decline twisting sit-ups, which is pretty much the same thing, just a lot better. C. Standing oblique reach. This one is garbage. You can't progressively overload it in any way. You look somewhat dumb when you're doing it, and it feels like more of a stretch than an actual ab workout. D. Weighted plank. Guys, planks are the worst way to train your abs, and it's not even close. You've got no range of motion, it's not a good exercise for building muscle or making your abs pop. And for a lot of people, including myself, your shoulders get way burned out before your abs do. I don't care if you can hold a plank for 10 seconds or 10 minutes, this gets its own tier. Twisting leg raise. This is a very solid exercise. You can focus on your lower abs and your obliques with the twist. It does feel a little weird doing it from the captain's chair, and it feels a lot better doing it hanging from a bar, but either way, it deserves a B. Seated crunch. This is the second best crunch variation, right under the reverse crunch. It pretty much has all the same positives. It focuses on the lower abs, you'll feel it if you go until failure, and they're very easy to do. The only downside is that you'll have to do this over and over again until you know what you're doing to avoid using your hip flexors, but either way, it deserves an A. Heel taps. This one is not that good. It's not the worst, but you look stupid when doing it. You barely feel it in your obliques, and there are just so many better exercises for this. I've also seen a cross-country runner do this, so maybe it's a little personal bias, but I don't care, so it's going in D. Oblique V-up. These are 1, hard to do, 2, you'll be the only one doing it in the gym, and 3, D tier. Forearm plank. It's a plank, nothing else to be said. V-up. Weirdly, 1,000 times better than the oblique variation. It's still hard to do, but you're not struggling balancing yourself, so you actually get a good workout in, so it gets a B. Twisting mountain climbers. These are okay. Most of the time when I do mountain climbers, I can't feel it in my abs, but with the twist, I can. So it goes in C. Side plank crunch. It's not just a plank, it's a side plank, which is so much worse. Adding a crunch makes it a little better, but you look like a dumbass doing it, so it's still not getting out of plank tier. Plank walkouts. Do I need to say any more? Toes to bar. This is the best one. It's a hanging leg raise, but better. You'll get more range of motion, your abs will die in the process, but in a good way. You'll just have to get used to hanging for a while because sometimes your forearms will burn out before your abs, which is honestly a plus because you're just getting jacked forearms. This exercise is really hard, but once you build the strength in your lower abs, your forearms, and can control when you go up and down, this is easily the best exercise you can do. You'll never see me not doing this, so S+. Decline weighted sit-ups. This is a very solid exercise, and as I said before, the decline and the stability you get from this weird bench really helps you focus on your abs and not many other muscles. It doesn't have the twist, so you're not focusing on your obliques, and for that reason, I'm not giving it A, but I'll give it B. Captain's chair leg raise. It's just a leg raise in the captain's chair. The only thing worse is that you don't get as much range of motion, but you are more stable. The thing is, if you're good enough at controlling yourself with the regular hanging leg raise, then stability doesn't really matter. But it's still very good, so I'll give it an A. Dumbbell side reach. You're damn near doing a side plank with extra steps, but the movement and the weight make it a little better, so I'll be nice and give it a D. No, I'm giving it an F. Crossbody crunch. I'll be honest, I don't really know what's wrong with this exercise. It just doesn't feel good, so I'm just gonna put it in D. Plank march. It's a plank, but you're marching. Wiper crunch. This exercise is pretty good for your obliques, but if you do it wrong, you'll feel it in your hip flexors, so I'm just gonna give it C. Hanging knee raises. This is what you do before you can do hanging leg raises and before toes to bar. So it's a good stepping stone into those more advanced workouts, so A. Weighted crunch. I'm just gonna give this the same tier as the basic crunch because it's just adding more weight. Cable wood chopper. Another oblique exercise that has a pretty cool name, but not very effective, so D. Plank taps. This is so stupid. I almost want to put it lower than the plank category. Because what is tapping your shoulder doing other than putting more stress on your shoulder? This shit is at the bottom of plank. Reverse crunch on bench. This is actually what I did before I could do hanging leg raises, and honestly it's a little difficult, but if you do it within like 2 weeks, you'll get good within 2 weeks, you'll be fine. So A. Lying alternate leg raise. This is the first leg raise variation that I wouldn't recommend. It's very similar to toe touch crunch, but without the crunch part. There's just no need to be going up and down with one leg at a time, but it's a leg raise, so it gets a C. Stability ball pass. If there was one muscle I would say this exercise targeted, it would be the hip flexors. I don't know if I just didn't do this one enough to fully see if it hit my abs more, but for this reason, I'm putting in D. Side lying leg raise. Now this is the worst leg raise variation you can do. It looks weird, feels weird, and you have to do it twice to be done with the full set. It's going in F. Decline bench leg raise. This is a better version of the reverse crunch on bench, and this is actually what I did before I could do toes to bar, so this one gets an S. Landmine twists. Definitely has one of the coolest names, and honestly feels pretty good. I haven't done this one as much, so there's a huge chance I was doing it wrong, but anyway, it gets a B. Scissor kicks. Now this one is like one of those work hard, play hard vibes. They absolutely suck to do, but they're really good at hitting your lower abs. One problem is that when you start doing them, your back will probably start arching up off the ground, which is bad because that means your hip flexors are being used more than your abs. But if you avoid that, it deserves at least an A. Ab crunch with band. This exercise is alright. It's the same thing as a cable crunch, but you can't progressively overload it, and you also need a resistance band. But pretty much other than that, it's the same thing, so I'm just gonna put it in C. Side plank with reach. This is a copy of the dumbbell side reach without the weight, so you can control yourself more, but you also can't progressively overload yourself. So this one also gets an F. The Pallof press. I don't know if I said that name right, but this is honestly like a plank for your obliques. You're not moving, which is not good, so this gets an F. Pulse up. This is like a lying leg raise, but you're getting your ass off the ground, which actually makes a huge difference. But it's not enough to get into S, so it goes into A. Barbell side bend. It's another weighted side bend that honestly feels pretty good on your obliques, but you look stupid on the other hand doing it, so it gets a C. Stir the pot. Not many of the exercise ball activities are gonna rank high on this list. First of all, you need an exercise ball, and 2, you look stupid doing most of them. So this one gets an F. Standard plank. We're finally at the normal plank. Well, it deserves its spot in the plank tier. Russian twists. Now this one is super overrated. They're super common and they don't give you nearly as much as you think. There's so much movement required that definitely takes the focus off your abs, especially with bad form, which most people have. The weird thing is you feel a burn, but it's like a fake burn. It's also just exhausting to do, so this is going in D. Swiss ball crunch. Now this is probably the only exercise ball activity that I would actually recommend doing. You're just doing a crunch on an exercise ball, so it's not that hard to mess up the movement. But either way, there's still better crunch exercises, so I'll be very nice and give this a B. Barbell rollout. This exercise actually feels really good. It doesn't look that stupid. I actually think it looks pretty cool. It's a little obnoxious and you'll be taking up a squat rack, but overall, I think it deserves a solid B. Spider-Man plank. There's no way somebody makes my favorite superhero with a plank. It pains me to do this, but this exercise is so shit. It has to go in plank. It's so bad. Windshield wipers. Whew, I needed this. This is the best oblique exercise you can do. The only problem is that it's super hard to do and it's super obnoxious in the gym, but honestly, that doesn't matter. Once you're strong enough, do this workout, and I swear your obliques, they're gonna feel like they have 5 extra muscles. This goes in S+. Flutter kicks. It's pretty much the same thing as scissor kicks, just keep your back on the ground and you'll have a good workout. A. Bear crawl. I love bears, go Bruins, but ultimately this is a D. Stability ball rollout. Another exercise ball workout that looks stupid, feels horrible, and you spend more time balancing yourself than hitting your abs. F. Lying leg raise. A lying leg raise, but your butt is on the ground. B. Bird dog row. Get bird dog out of here, holy shit. F. Plank with reach. It's a plank. One arm plank. This is so much worse than an actual plank. The stress on your shoulders couldn't be worse. Plank. Dumbbell twisting sit up. I'm damn near using my whole body to get up instead of my abs, and since I didn't have my feet down, F. Dragon flag. Now this exercise has the #1 coolest name out of anything else. Unfortunately, it's 1, really hard to do. 2, there's no range of motion, so it's similar to a plank. So the dragon flag gets a D tier. Knee tucks on ball. Now this is one of the worst exercise ball workouts you can do. You feel it so much in your hip flexors, I don't know, maybe I was doing it wrong, but this gets an F. Plank with leg raises. There's too many planks on this list. Hollow body hold. Now this is also an exercise with no range of motion, but unlike the dragon flag, it doesn't have a cool name, but is easier to do, but does nothing for you in the first place. F. Side plank. Side planks are hard for no reason. My shoulder, again, always gives out first, and this is actually probably my least favorite exercise to do out of everything else, so plank. Weighted sit-up. Pretty much the same thing as weighted crunch, but I like the crunch better because there's less of a chance I would use my hip flexors, so I'm just gonna put this one in D. Mountain climbers. Now the twisting mountain climbers are good, but this one not so much. There's less range of motion and it just feels like cardio, so I'm just gonna put it in D. V-sit hold. Almost the same thing as the hollow body hold, just a different position. It's easy to balance, so for that reason I'm gonna give it a D. Bicycle crunch. This is also another workout. If you do it right, you'll be fine, but my hip flexors are doing all the work. There's a lot of movement required, so it's a lot easier to not use my abs, so for that reason I'm gonna put it in D. Plank jacks. Ugh. This one's horrible. First of all, it's a plank, and you look disgusting doing it. Plank. Plank to push up. This is the last plank exercise, and there's not much else to be said other than it's a plank with a little more movement, which is not good, but also not moving at all is not any better. Cable oblique crunch. Now this is actually a very solid oblique exercise you can do. This was also my first time doing this, and I was very surprised on how good it felt, and it was easy to do, so I'm gonna put it in B. Crunch claps. Okay, you're moving a lot, but if you have good form and are pretty balanced, your abs will get a pretty good workout, so I'm gonna put it in B. Standing oblique crunch. Okay, you're gonna look absolutely so dumb doing this, and it was my first time doing this right here, but I was super surprised on how much I felt. Like, I would actually do this again, and that's all I have to say, so I'm gonna give it a B. No, I'm gonna give it an A. TRX pike.